Greetings my friends and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George and today I've got another instalment of underrated albums for you. Albums that I just feel don't get nearly as much recognition, not nearly as much love as they deserve. So today, going a little bit off reservation. Some of you may completely disregard this whole subgenre, but I don't actually think this band fits neatly into the metalcore subgenre anyway. But I'm talking today about Killswitch Engaged with their 2009 self-titled album. This was the last album of the three albums to feature Howard Jones on vocals, an absolute vocal powerhouse that he is, a superb vocalist who can do the aggressive and the clean so well, so much better than most. He replaced Jesse Leach on vocals, who only was present on the first album before leaving, but then came back again after Howard Jones's departure from the band. So this album, as I say, 2009, it followed on from two very good, very well received, very critically acclaimed albums. We had The End of Heartache and As Daylight Dies. Those were very well received albums, loved by a lot of fans, and brought a lot of fans to the band. This album, the self-titled album, seems to have fallen flat and been not so well received and kind of ignored by a lot of the fan base. But this was actually the first album from Killswitch Engaged that I heard, and I absolutely loved it. I thought, this is a freaking great album. Wow, this is so heavy. Predominantly, the bands that I was listening to at that time were, I was quite young, were Slipknot was my favourite band. I was big into Avenged Sevenfold as well. Bands of that nature, very accessible. We all have to go through that transitionary period where we discover music with one band. My band was Slipknot, and then we explore around that. What's accessible? What are you going to read about in the Kerrang magazine or Metal Hammer magazine? Or what are you going to see played on Kerrang TV? It's going to be the more accessible bands. There was a lot of Linkin Park and stuff thrown around at the time, but a lot of it didn't stick for me. I very rapidly went to the heavier stuff. But this was an album that caught my ears. Mainly, I think it was the single Starting Over, second track, which is far more melodic, it's got a bit of a poppy vibe, but it's heavy, it's metal. I thought this was great. I really loved it, and I still do. I would still say it's one of my favourite Killswitch Engage albums. You've got some really great tracks here. Overall, this album is it's a really dark album. It's full of angst and hopelessness and loss and suffrage. It's not got a lot of hope and a lot of optimism here. It's a very, very pessimistic album, you could say. Tracks like The Forgotten or Reckoning, The Return, Save Me, Lost, just to give a few, these are all really quite negative tracks. It's a very negative album. But musicianship-wise, it's fantastic. Killer riffs, plenty of great chugging riff moments. Certainly, you take a track like Never Again, the opening track there, or The Forgotten, Take Me Away. So got some superb guitar work in there. A Light in a Darkened World, The Return. Really great riffs, heavy as hell. Throughout this album, Howard Jones delivers an absolutely awe-inspiring vocal performance. He's such a good vocalist, one of my favourites. I think he's got such a unique voice, but so much power, so much soul there. And I think he delivers a really good vocal performance here. I know that a lot of people thought, I don't know, it doesn't really sound like he's all that interested anymore. But I don't get that vibe. I really don't. I get, a guy who's a great singer performing really well alongside some really great musicians. It's a really well produced album. The sound is really brilliant. The album is produced by Brendan O'Brien, co-produced by Adam Dukowitz. Wicks. I can never pronounce his surname. He's the kind of the founder and guitarist of the band, but it's a great album. And no, as I've said, I don't feel these guys neatly sit into the metalcore subgenre. That for me has a lot of more negative connotations. It makes me think more of bands like Asking Alexandria or Bring Me the Horizon, bands that I can't really follow, don't really listen to. But these guys, I could pick up any of their albums and listen any day. I think they're heavy, it's modern metal, it's modern aggressive metal. Heavy metal? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's packed full of great riffs, packed full of great, really memorable songs. Some massive choruses there. You've got superb musicianship across the band there and some excellent vocals. So I would say Killswitch Engaged, 2009 self-titled album. If you've not heard it, give it a spin. If you like bands such as, let's say, Lamb of God or Chimera or As I Lay Dying, you know, just give a bit of a background there, a few things that may be vaguely similar. I don't know. If you like those, you definitely like this band and this album, certainly. If you fancy listening to something a bit different, maybe you're more of a power metal or heavy metal faithful, maybe that's, you know, that's your favourite style of metal, branch out, give it a try. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's got something about it. It's got a lot of magic there, but it's a really negative album. What do you think of this album? Killswitch Engage, self-titled album. Is it an underrated album? I don't know. Let me hear you. I certainly think it is. If you're not familiar with it, check it out. But thank you very much for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe. Check back soon for more reviews and recommendations. And as always, you stay heavy.